Inshallah, today I will recite from Surah Al-Hud, Surah number 11, starting with the story of Sayyidina Salih, verse 61. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره هو أنشأكم من الأرض واستعمركم فيها فاستغفروه ثم توبوا إليه إن ربي قريب مجيب. قالوا يا صالح قد كنت فينا مرجوا قبل هذا أتنهانا أن نعبد ما يعبد آباؤنا وإننا لفي شك مما تدعونا إليه مريب. قال يا قوم أرأيتم إن كنت على بينة من ربي وآتاني منه رحمة فمن ينصرني من الله إن عصيته فما تزيدونني غير تخسير. ويا قوم هذه ناقة الله لكم آية فذروها تأكل في أرض الله ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب قريب. فعقروها فقال تمتعوا في داركم 3 أيام ذلك وعد غير مكذوب. فلما جاء أمرنا نجينا صالحا والذين آمنوا معه برحمة منا ومن خزي يومئذ إن ربك هو القوي العزيز. وأخذ الذين ظلموا الصيحة فأصبحوا في ديارهم جاثمين كأن لم يغنوا فيها ألا إن ثمود كفروا ربهم ألا بعدا لثمود. ولقد جاءت رسلنا إبراهيم بالبشرى قال سلاما ولقد جاءت رسلنا إبراهيم بالبشرى قالوا سلاما قال سلام فما لبث أن جاء
عليه نكرهم وأوجس منهم خيفة قالوا لا تخف إنا أرسلنا إلى قوم لوط وامرأته قائمة فضحكت فبشرناها بإسحاق ومن وراء إسحاق يعقوب قالت يا ويلتى أألد وأنا عجوز وهذا بعلي شيخا إن هذا لشيء عجيب قالوا أتعجبين من أمر الله رحمة الله عليكم وبركاته أهل البيت رحمة الله وبركاته عليكم أهل البيت إنه حميد مجيد فلما ذهب عن إبراهيم الروع وجاءته البشرى يجادلنا في قوم لوط إن إبراهيم لحليم أواه منيب يا إبراهيم أعرض عن هذا إنه قد جاء أمر ربك وإنهم آتيهم عذاب غير مردود صدق الله العظيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله. Verily, all of our praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. نحمده, so we praise Him. ونستعينه, we seek His assistance alone. ونستغفره, and we seek His forgiveness. ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from our own evil thoughts and desires. ومن سيئات أعمالنا, and from our own sinful actions. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له. Whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides to this straight path, no one is capable of forcing them or removing them from this guidance. ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. And whoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows to go astray because of their own heedlessness, their own arrogance, then no one can force that person to guidance. How could you? أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله لا شريك له. And we bear witness and we testify that there is absolutely nothing worthy of our worship except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَنَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. And we bear witness and we testify that this man named Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was his last and final messenger on this path, and our guide along this path. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, many would argue, lived one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult life a person could face. Traditionally, when you look up to those in society, maybe the celebrities, the rich folks, you look up to them because you think that their wealth, their fame, has made their lives so much easier, and their lives are filled with such happiness. And you desire to achieve that happiness. You desire to achieve that popularity, where no one can walk on the face of the earth and not know who Michael Jordan is, or LeBron James, or a famous actor. You desire that popularity. You desire that praise. And yet in reality, they walk through life depressed. And yet the single most blessed man to have ever walked on the face of this earth walks around with popularity centuries after his death, with his name being the most common name on the face of an earth which hosts 7 billion people. This man named Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for very good reasons. We ask that Allah sends His peace and blessings upon our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because he walked on the face of the earth. He is the most popular person on the face of the earth, even though he lived 1400 years ago, and he lived the most difficult life you could live. He didn't aspire for happiness. He aspired for growth. And with growth comes difficulty. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, over the course of his life, buried every single one of his children, except for Fatima radiallahu anha. And she passed away shortly after his death. Now, many of you are parents, and you ask yourself, what is the single greatest thing I could lose? It might not be your 401k. For sure, it's not your car or your valuable items. For those that are parents know that the single greatest thing they could lose is their offspring, their legacy that they've created. And yet the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam lost child after child after child. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had a young son named Ibrahim. And in his last moments, a companion by the name of Abdurrahman bin Auf was with him, and sees the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tearing up as Ibrahim takes his last breaths. And he says, "You cried as well? But you're the Prophet. Are you not immune from feeling pain and difficulty?" And so he tells Abdurrahman bin Auf, he says, "By Allah, these tears are mercy. They are a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And he cried some more. And then he says, "The eyes are shedding tears, and the heart is grieved. But the tongue will not say except that which pleases its Lord." Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. For those that are looking for a reason, why do we say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? This is a perfect example of why we ask Allah to send His peace and blessings upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Losing his most valuable. How valuable are your children? Child after child. And yet the tongue does not speak except that which pleases its Lord. Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا. Do the people think that they will be let to say we believe وهم لا يفتنون, and that they will not be tested in this belief? Do people think that they just get to claim belief and not have to prove it? How do you have to prove it? Some of us have to sacrifice something. Some of us will deal with pain and anguish. And some will be tested with their gratitude. And when you go through a trial, when you go through a test, you ask yourself, how on earth am I supposed to prepare myself? When you go through college and you go through school and you know that you're equipped to handle tests with your studies and the information you've acquired. But how do I go through the tests of life? What can I rely upon? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that those who believe rely upon two things. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ, and rely upon patience. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّلَاةِ, and rely upon your prayers. Towards the end of the Prophet ﷺ's life, towards the end of the Muslims staying in the city of Mecca, before they left to Medina, things had gotten extremely difficult. The boycott sanctions, the Islamophobia, if you will, got to a point where they were cut off from any type of trade. In that type of society, no trade means you're not allowed to go to the grocery store and get groceries. You're not allowed to order things off of Amazon. You're not allowed to buy things that you need for your daily life. You're not allowed to send your kids to school. You're not allowed to walk in public freely. At that time, that's what these boycott sanctions meant. And so the community came and relied upon two specific individuals. One financially, one politically. Financially, the wife of the Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Khadija radiallahu anha, who was extremely successful in business and had acquired a lot of tremendous amount of wealth. And the Prophet relied upon her at certain times for her financial prowess, and for his uncle, Abu Talib, for his political savviness, his ability to deal with those that caused the Islamophobia riots that were going on, and his ability to lower the impact, the negative impact and consequences of these sanctions. Both of them died within a year, during the most difficult time to be a Muslim. And the community now looks around and asks themselves, who on earth are we going to rely upon now? When you look through the scholars of Sirah, they mention this specific year, and they say that one of the blessings of this incident to occur, one of the blessings and wisdoms to take away from it, is that it began to shift the morale of the people. It began to shift their reliance from upon the people to upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you go home and the stock market crashes and your 401k is completely cleared out, who do you get to rely on? When you walk into your business and flooding has occurred and you have to shut down, costing you thousands of dollars, who do you have to rely on? It's not the insurance company. It's not Wall Street. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He tells us that the way we rely upon Him was rely upon prayer, rely upon patience. Shortly after this year of grief of the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most, and one of, if not the most impactful incidents to occur in his life happened. We know it by the name of Al-Isra wal Mi'raj, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ascend to the heavens And the biggest gift we could receive as an ummah. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّلَاةِ. The obligation now of the 5 daily prayers is gifted to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The year of grief was responded to with the obligation of salah. And it was no accident that it happened in this way. Along with this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the last 2 ayat of Surah Al-Baqarah, wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the last ayat, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما كسبت. That Allah will never give a soul more than its burden, more than it can carry. Allah will never give you a burden more than you can carry. Right after He gave you that which you should rely upon. And the good consequences of your actions will be rewarded. And the evil ones will be punished. My brothers and sisters, when the scholars discuss what sabr entails, they generally discuss it in types and categories. Now we all understand that when a calamity befalls us, that's a type of patience. Patience in the face of calamity. Patience in the face of a car accident. Patience in the face of a lost loved one. Patience in the face of business going down the road. Patience in losing money. Patience in not accomplishing a task. Patience in the face of calamity. But what do we think the other types of patience will be? What else does our nafs require patience? They say that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a commandment, obeying and being obedient to His commandments requires patience. Many of us fully understand the first, but the second is we're a little hazy on. When Allah commands us to pray 5 times a day, so that we establish a pillar that we can rely upon, it requires patience. Because there are so many distractions that will come into your life, and you have to be patient in performing your prayer. You have to be patient in removing these obstacles, because they will come one after the other after the other. Some people always have an excuse for failure. And many of you have met these types of people. Some people always have an excuse not to be patient in the face of the commandments. And we've met these people. Oh, I can't pray, I have to do this important business meeting. I can't pray, I have this important thing I need to attend to. I can't pray because of this, I can't pray because of that. My brothers and sisters, the reason salah is something that we rely upon is because we have to build it so that we can rely upon it. You cannot build a building with straws and expect it to hold weight. When you build on your salah, you are reinforcing it so that when a calamity happens, it is strong enough to keep you standing upright. The other type of patience is patiently staying away from disobedience. And for the youth in our crowd, many of us face trials in school, in college, in our young professional careers. So many distractions come to us, day after day after day. Things that we know are not appropriate for someone who says, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, to fall into in a consistent manner. This is a type of patience. My brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this beautiful concept of tawakkul for a reason. It is because for the one that has Allah is in need of no one. And the one that does not have Allah, no one can be a benefit to him. My brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that our tests are not stronger than us. They cannot be. And when you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, have I built upon these pillars in which I am to rely upon? Or did I neglect them because I was impatient in building them? فأقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم أستغفر الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. We begin with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we ask that He sends His peace and blessings upon our dear beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My brothers, do not think that when you are tested in a calamity, that you will be left alone by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The companions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went through so much difficulty that they began to ask the question, Mata Rasulullah? When will the victory of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come? We have faced persecution. We have faced our family members fighting us. We have faced loss. We have faced and we have faced and we have faced. And oh Allah, we are getting tired of this. We're getting beaten up on a daily basis. Oh Allah, when will the victory come? Imagine the state in which they were in. For them to come to this point and ask Allah, oh Allah, when is the victory come? And to which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies by saying, for sure the victory of Allah is coming soon. We have gone from asking Allah for His victory to some of us facing calamity and trials and asking Allah and questioning His wisdom. And that this is not the appropriate manner in which a servant deals and interacts with the Lord. The ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, لا يسأل عما يفعل. That He is not the one that gets to be questioned about what He does. وَهُمْ يُسْأَلُونَ. Rather, it will be they that are questioned. It's okay to call out to Allah and ask Him for help. It's okay to ask Allah for guidance. In fact, that is what we are supposed to do. But never give up hope in the mercy of Allah. Never give up hope in the victory of Allah. Because yes, it might not come while you are alive, but it will come. True victory will come. Victory in this life is not the true victory. The house, the residence of peace is the true victory. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us our lips inhabitants. My brothers and sisters, we ask Allah to make us of those that are steadfast in the face of trial. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the patience in the face of calamity. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us patience in the face of obedience. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us patience in the face of disobedience and desires. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who overcome our obstacles. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who invest in our pillars of sabr and salah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those that draw closer to Him and near to Him through patience and salah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who invest in their akhirah as well as the dunya. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. Oh our Lord, give us the best of this life and the best of the next life. Protect us from the punishments of the hellfire. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات. Oh Allah, give patience, give forgiveness to those that are Muslimin and Muslimat. الأحياء منهم والأموات. Those of them that are alive and those of them that have passed away. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. Oh Allah, protect us. Oh Allah, protect us. Oh Allah, protect us. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
حقا دائما وابدا لا اله الا الله. استقيموا واعتدلوا واستووا تراصوا ارحموا. الله اكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا ألف لام ميم. أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فليعلمن الله الذين صدقوا وليعلمن الكاذبين. أم حسب الذين يعملون السيئات أن يسبقونا ساء ما يحكمون. من كان يرجو لقاء الله فإن أجل الله لآت وهو السميع العليم. ومن جاهد فإنما يجاهد لنفسه إن الله لغني عن العالمين. والذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لنكفرن عنهم سيئاتهم ولنجزينهم أحسن الذي كانوا يعملون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our dear brother, our partner, our companion, our pillar of the center, a fixture in the center for 2 decades. Our dear Nasir Ali Sheikh passed away and was subsequently buried in the Orange County. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him a high place in Jannah, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy on him all the questions and answers to his story. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give sabr and patience to his family. Today, from Asr till Maghrib, his family will be here to receive all of you in the condolences and they will be reciting Quran. So please come and join.
Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, as mentioned, we have tonight the condolences to the family. So our program that was with care will be postponed. That will be postponed, inshallah. So tonight we'll be having that as well as dinner after Salah. Now this Sunday in school, Allahu Akbar, we have a great Quran competition that they're hosting. It's going to be this Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. inshallah. And everyone is requested to come and watch the amazing youth come and recite the Quran inshallah. Along with this, next Friday night inshallah, we have reached a tremendous milestone in having 100 students registered in our Quran program with Qadi'anas. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. So next Friday night inshallah, we'll be having a giant celebration to welcome and celebrate. I'll be here, Qadi'anas will be here, everyone should be here inshallah. Qadi'anas will be reciting some beautiful Quran and as well as the students for a reminder of the importance of the Quran inshallah. Along with this, as we start to prepare for inshallah, the month of the Quran, we have the blessing of hosting Sheikh Jamal Diwan for a 10-week tafsir class, inshallah, starting in April. Starting in April, it's a 10-week class, and inshallah, the registration will be about $50 per person for all the courses, for the whole course, inshallah. And the last course will be the Sunday right before Ramadan. So it's a great way for us to prepare for it, inshallah. We'll have registration available soon. We'll be receiving emails for you, right, online, or in person with myself, inshallah. Also, please do not forget to donate. One of the things that we're setting up is our initiative of being a guardian of the masjid. With a $100 a month or a monthly pledge of any donation you choose, you fill out a form here inside the Musalla as well as welcome, inshallah. With that, we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to keep dua those that have passed away, those that are sick in the body.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم أنت ربنا لا إله إلا أنت خلقتنا ونحن عبيدك ونحن على عهدك ووعدك ما استطعنا نعوذ بك من شر ما صنعنا ونبوء لك بنعمتك علينا ونبوء بذنوبنا. اللهم اغفر لنا فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا وبفضلك أكرمنا ومن أسرار خلقك سلمنا وعلى ذلك لا تكلنا. اللهم ارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا. اللهم يسر امرنا واجبر كسرنا وارحم ضعفنا. اللهم يا اكرم الاكرمين يا الله. اللهم رب الناس اذهب الباس عن المرضى. اللهم اشفهم انت الشافي لا شفاء الا شفاء شفاء لا يغادر سقما. اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم يا اكرم الاكرمين يسر لهم طريقا الى الجنه. اللهم يا اكرم الاكرمين ابدلهم دارا خيرا من دارهم واهلا خيرا من اهلهم وبدنا خيرا من بدنهم. اللهم ان كانوا مسلمين في احسانهم وإن كانوا مسيئين فتجاوز عن سيئاتهم. ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولمشايخنا ولمن علمنا ولكل من له فضل علينا. اللهم يا أكرم الأكرمين يا الله ارزقنا الإخلاص في أقوالنا وأعمالنا. اللهم ارزقنا الإخلاص في أقوالنا وأعمالنا. اللهم وأبعد عن قلوبنا الرياء والنفاق والشقاق وسوء الأخلاق. اللهم يا أكرم الأكرمين يا الله عليك توكلنا وإليك أنبنا وإليك المصير. اللهم ارزقنا الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى ومن العمل ما ترضى. اللهم يا مقلب القلوب والابصار ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم لا تكلنا الى نفوسنا طرفه عين ولا اقل من ذلك، لا نشقى ونضل ضلالا بعيدا. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه.
Like,